Nick Suzuki just revealed some crazy details on something Lane Hutson did last season that caught a lot of Habs players off guard, that just speaks to the insane confidence that this player has. We have to dive into that. Plus, Oliver Kapanen and Christian Dvorak go head-to-head once again to prove who is going to be the next center for the Montreal Canadiens coming into this season. That plus a note on Owen Beck and how it feels like he's starting to be slept on with all the other center controversy. We got to talk about all that coming up on this episode of Habs Digest. And Jesse, we're going to start with Owen Beck. And honestly, right now, this is the perfect situation for Owen Beck. Now, before we get into this is recorded prior to the Habs Leafs preseason game. Just gonna put that out there now. But there was an article on LDS that kind of went into Owen Beck. They asked him some questions where he feels he is, and I want to bring up some quotes, Jesse, that I thought were very interesting. We'll start with this one. He basically said, looking back, his perspective on this whole situation has changed, and whether it's in Montreal or Laval, he knows he'll be in an ideal context to continue his development, and he just wants to do his own thing, like he did at his first camp, and see what happens. And I like that, but really, Jesse, this is another great one too, talking about Kapanen, because obviously there's a lot of talk between those two, not just Kapanen and Dvorak, though it feels like Kapanen is definitely getting more attention. He said, I guess we're similar players, but I believe if you play at the top of your game, there's room to grow. I don't know what's going on in the heads of management or coaching or the directors. They're going to put together the team that they think is best built for success. That means one of us, each of us, none of us. That's out of our control. But Jesse, the way I come out of this is this. Owen Beck's in a great spot to just be himself and see what happens. But now being himself, Jesse, he's seeing. This is the year we've said Owen Beck can make the NHL. And he's seeing guys like Oliver Kapanen arguably jump him in this depth chart, for a lot of Habs fans at least. Seeing like he has that chance to make it, but now there's another roadblock. For me, him seeing all the great players being at this time to make the league, while also having this chance to kind of just see that competition, use that as motivation, is absolutely perfect for a player like him.
I like that. I'm really happy that obviously we know Beck understands the game so well on the ice, but it seems like off the ice, he's really maturing now as well. His third camp, I think there's something to be said for that. Kapanen, just his first one, where he's really realizing, you know what, if I just play my game well, there's going to be a job for me. And he's absolutely right, because Josh, we know Owen Beck is an NHL player. We know it. He knows it. And Martin St. Louis knows it as well. This is going to be a player that he's going to be important for us, I feel, for a long period of time to go. Like, not only does he think the game really well, his physical attributes are through the roof, as was shown through his testing kind of coming up, but also that mental part of the game, right? There was an interesting quote from Luke Tuck recently, kind of related just in general into training camp and your spot. It was that, like, pressure, it's really kind of a privilege at this point in time, and to really own that and just put in the work that you need to do, which Owen Beck is absolutely doing. Of course, not all alone on that. He's been working quite a bit with Paul Byron as well, which has really been refining his game over a period of time. And it's easy to forget that Owen Beck, besides the assists that he's already generated in the preseason, the point that he's already gotten is that he's created scoring opportunities for sure. And he just said kind of, I just need to work on my short game a little bit of once I get those opportunities in the slot of really putting them back in the net. But as we know, Marty's the first one to say is like, get those opportunities, put yourself in a position to score first, and it'll definitely come. I feel like that's the route that Owen Beck's going to take.
100%. And his game already looks so professional. Like, he does stand out on the ice, right? Like, he looks like an NHL type of player. Just so happens there's a lot of competition for him, but I think he's very right in the sense that he's got all the opportunity in the world to develop himself. And whether he makes the team this year or not, like he said, it is out of his control to some extent, but it is in his control a little bit. So we'll see what happens this season. And again, come back to this video after the Habs versus Leafs game and let us know down below how Owen Beck did. But also, Jesse, let us know how Oliver Kapanen did, because, you know, you might be watching this before, you might be watching this after. If it's before, come back. If it's after, let us know what happened. But it's continuing. When it comes to Kapanen and Dvorak, and there's one thing that I wanted to highlight. It doesn't matter when you're watching this video, because this is something we can all agree on. The fact that Oliver Kapanen gets that shot to play with Joshua Roy and Yoel Armia, that's no coincidence. Like, you look at who's playing in this game, right? And you see Kapanen on that second line with Roy and Armia. Ignore the fact that Montreal's playing like an AHL lineup while the Leafs are going full all out with everyone but Matthews and Nyes, it seems like. But the fact that they have Kapanen with Juan Armia is a sign to say, like, this is your chance to play with some NHL guys. See what you got. And Beck playing with Guhle, who was a great line mate for Kapanen. Kapanen made him look amazing. And Riley Kidney as well, a guy who has a very good amount of skill. This, to me, Jesse, is a big sign. It's like, we're putting Dvorak with Newhook and Heineman, but Cappy, we're giving you some NHLers. This battle is something that not just we are seeing, but the entire management, I mean, it's obvious they're seeing it, but they're really, what I love is they're giving Kapanen a chance to prove it with guys who play at the highest level, and that is what has me the most excited about the upcoming games next week into the rest of training camp.
And that's why this is a huge game today, is because Oliver Kapanen is going to be playing against NHL caliber competition. So the test really begins today in earnest. Can he do it right? Because that's the big question. And Josh, there's definitely a couple inferences that we can make kind of looking at this projected lineup for tonight. The fact that, Dvorak is ahead of Kapanen is saying, Kapanen, you still got some work to do, right? But Kapanen being ahead of Beck, I think that there's definitely something telling in that as well, right? I think this is kind of a surprise for absolutely. Playing with like some NHL ready guys. So this is going to be a huge, huge game, and I love that they're kind of putting them in a position to succeed in a lot of ways by saying, like, if you do make the team, these could very well be your lineups on this third line, which really comes to my point that, Josh, I would just be so disappointed because we know Oliver Kapanen's not just coming here for the t-shirt, as Rob Ramage says. Like, I would be so disappointed if he came to this camp, show that he deserved the spot, and then he would just get the t-shirt. As a result, I think we want to reward our prospects. We want to show if you're coming to camp, because this matters. These performances under pressure, competing against your peers, it has to be worth something. So I'm just so eager to see how this all shakes out.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, and again, you could be watching this after the game. If you are, let us know what happened down below. Like, this is something we can all talk about. We can all discuss until the end of time, because this is not going to be the be-all, end-all on Thursday night. There's going to be a game Saturday night as well, Habs versus Leafs at the Bell Center, and you know that the Habs are going to go rolling out their top six for that game if they're saving them for this one. We're going to see, maybe not Newhook, we'll probably see Newhook with Dach and Laine, we'll probably see Suzuki, Caufield, Slafkovsky, but it's that bottom six that's going to be very telling for what's coming in the future. So let us know your thoughts on this whole situation, because getting that chance to prove yourself with Juan Armia, I think, is a sign sent from management that he is truly in consideration. Final thing though, Jesse, I want to talk about a different Habs prospect. Like, I didn't even know it was possible for Lane Hutson to get more amazing. Look, I'm falling in love with Oliver Kapanen right before my eyes, but Lane Hutson is the guy that we love to talk about, the guy that torched the Leafs in the prospect camp, the guy that Leafs fans will say wasn't the best player on the ice, but Habs fans will say, well, Nick Suzuki, there was a recent clip that surfaced, Jesse, of Nick Suzuki talking to Macklin Celebrini at a certain event. Suzuki had this to say when he was talking to Celebrini, asking, hey, you think Lane will make the team this year? We don't have anything like him. First game in Detroit, Lane was like, let's run the reverse in the D zone. He was confident enough to call the play on the face-off. And that is absolutely insane that Lane has that level of confidence with that. But that's a theme, Jesse, with this Habs team. Every guy we talk about has this insane level of confidence. But it's not just confidence. It's hustle. It's knowing, I guess that is confidence, knowing in your own abilities and being confident in it. But he knows what he brings to the table. It's very evident. He goes out on the ice. He's like, I can make you look foolish. But it's not just that. He can make you look foolish with a crazy goal like this, or he can go hustle, poke the puck away, slide on his knees. This is against the Leafs. You're going to see this again in the game on Thursday night. Lane Hutson doing absolutely everything he needs to make this team. But Jesse, to hear Nick Suzuki say those kind of words, we have nothing like him on the team. And, even Celebrini was like, yeah, I think Lane's going to make it. I don't think there's any question anymore. The way Suzuki was talking, this is a sure thing, as if there were even any questions. But again, to come back to it, to me, the fact that he was confident enough to do that, it clearly caught Suzuki off guard, is just, oh man, I love this kid.
And it's official, right? Kind of interesting that this is kind of getting released even before training camp is totally finished. Having that conversation with Macklin Celebrini, who is a big Lane Hutson truther, obviously having benefited from playing with him so much in the NCAA. But again, like, this just speaks to how Lane Hutson, he's just another breed, not just like for his size, which is very rare in the NHL, but to have that ability to kind of come into a game and right away in your first NHL games be calling plays. Like, he's not doing this just for the sake of trying to stand out. Like, he's trying to do it because he wants to win, and he feels like he can have that effect on the Montreal Canadiens. So just the fact that he can kind of come in early to a game and already kind of impose himself, as we've seen in the training camps, in the preseason, speaks a lot for me, Josh, on his ability to hit the ground running when it starts the season. Because a player that can come into a game already want to take control, that says a lot. That says a lot about his Calder aspirations. Because if he wants to be in the mix for that once again, we know he's going to need to start scoring right away if he wants to make that happen. And a player that can come in to his first game in the NHL, already be calling shots, definitely tells me that this is a player that is going to really want to just have an effect on the game absolutely right away. I say that this is what we want in Montreal, and this is what we kind of need at this point in time. So he's absolutely fulfilling that role for us.
Now, the big question is, like, seriously, after watching the kind of abysmal power play in the last Habs preseason game with Matheson running the helm, not that it's his fault, because he's still a very good power play player. It's just, you know, after watching Lane Hutson, I don't know, Jesse. I don't know if it's just me, but doesn't every power play feel slow when Lane Hutson is not the one manning the point? It's actually crazy. It's a night and day difference when we're talking about even zone entries. Even Lane was taking it himself sometimes. They're still doing the drop pass in the power play with Marty in charge, but to me, like, I'm starting to think, like, I know we were talking about this already. Like, Matheson probably deserves it to start the season, but, like, Lane on power play 1 is seeming more and more like an inevitability. Like, there's just a certain gravity when he's on the ice that's almost hard to describe.
And we see from this video that how Nick Suzuki really feels on the matter. And you have to feel like he will have a say on this at some point, whether it's the head coaches wanting to make sure that his captain and everybody else is happy. It's like these players, like the big thing is like they want to play with Lane. That's a big reason of why he's making this team and why eventually he will get to that PP1, right? And of course, Matheson has great offensive skills, but we just see that Lane just has particularly a little bit of that X factor. And he's not just going to be a power play specialist, but can he ever excel in this type of situation? If we're looking to score more goals, we're looking to be more effective, which you absolutely need to have a good power play to be a playoff team. Lane Hutson does give this Montreal Canadiens the best opportunity just because he's an absolutely phenomenal talent, that creativity, and it's mostly his vision where over the ice it's great, but if you just give him a small piece of ice to really concentrate on, you know that focus is just going to expand even more. He's just going to make amazing things happen as we've already seen.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I cannot wait to see. Again, this video is recorded before the Thursday night game, but even if you're watching after, let us know what happened, because I'm just excited to see this game, the next game, the rest of the preseason, and the regular season starting in just about a week and a half or 2 weeks away. We're getting closer every single day, but my gosh, I hope you guys stick along for the ride with us, because there's so much more than just this coming out in the next few days. But that'll do it for this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. You guys have been supporting like crazy, and we really, really appreciate it. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.